So good morning, everyone. I am bringing you out here because I've had a couple of questions about my gardening, and people wanted to know how things are going. And when I first bought those little tripod Dollar Tree items, people said, "Would you let us see how they're doing?" So that's what we're going to do today. So I've got several things from Dollar Tree. So let me just bring you a little closer, and we'll start with the one I'm most proud of. So right here, let me bring you down just a little bit so that you can see what I'm talking about. So right here is the first one that I planted. Let me move this one out of the way. So this is one of those tripod Dollar Tree things. You know, you see it's got like three different little pots. And the nice thing about them is that they're stackable. So let me stack this back on here, making sure that I'm not injuring any of the plants. So I had seen a gardener using some of these. She used them last year and the year before, and they turned out pretty good. But one of the things that I noticed was she showed twice where they fell over and just crashed. So I only have five here, and I decided that more than five, they might be up too tall and be affected by the wind. But look at this. I've got strawberries here in the top. Now this one's been planted about 2 weeks, and the strawberry plants are looking pretty good. And these have been in the pot for about 2 weeks because all that I put in here was cool weather plants. So I got strawberries in the top 3 rows. And then look at here. This is some kale. This kale is looking pretty good. Right here, I've got some spinach, I think. Let's see. No, romaine leaf lettuce. Oh, so right here, I've got some romaine leaf lettuce. Here, I've got some collard greens. And my husband was like, collard greens? Are you going to take them out? I'm like, nope, I'm going to let them stay right in there. And let's see if I can twist this around without disturbing much. So I've got collard greens right here, more strawberries. And now this is celery. And I had cut this celery down to like right there. And look at how it's popped up already. It's growing nicely. And then the rest of this, strawberries. So I am really pleased with this one. And it's been in the pot for about 2 weeks and it's coming along nicely. And then let's take a look at my herbs. Well, let's work our way that way. Let's do that. So this is one that I planted yesterday. So let me bring you down just a little bit more so you can see it. This is the one that I planted yesterday. And since I was so pleased with that one, now this one only has 4 tiers, and I probably will get one more tier to go on the top. But the top 2 tiers, this is spinach. And then the bottom 2 tiers is celery. And I'm hoping that they do well. So these Dollar Tree little goodies, they were each $1.25 a tier. And they're coming along nicely. I'm really pleased with them so far. So these were just planted yesterday. Those were planted 2 weeks ago. Now I've got some other Dollar Tree goodies. So let me show you those. I'm going to bring you around because I don't want to be trying to move all of these things. Okay, so, hey Tudu, glad you're here. Plain and simple, hello. Glad you guys are here to visit me this morning. So these are some pepper plants that I picked up earlier, and I got this pot at Dollar Tree. It was $1.25, and I think I have 6 of these. Yeah, I have 6 of the pots like this, so this is what they look like. And I think they're good size. So this is some lavender. So I have 2 like this with lavender in it, and they're growing in nicely. I've got 3 pepper plants. This one was not Dollar Tree. This was a pot left over from something last year. But there's that. And then I've got a couple of tomatoes in here. Now these might need to get switched out to a bigger pot, but at the time, I needed to get these in the ground. So they'll do fine here for now, and I can always put them in a larger container later. And then here is my herb garden. It's doing really well. So I'll bring you over a little closer. You can kind of see, look at all that right there. I'm not making you guys dizzy. Let's see. Okay. This isn't the best live stream, but I wanted you to be able to see it. So this is my herb garden. I'm going to bring you down just a little bit. There we go. So these have been in the pot about 2 weeks as well, and they're doing really well. Here I've got some basil. I've trimmed off this basil a couple times, used it yesterday in a meal. I made Miss Leona's apple brandy chicken, and I needed basil for that, so I used some of that. Got some rosemary growing here, and this thyme has just taken off. But look at it. There's thyme here, some Greek oregano right here, and then some garden sage, which I use for cooking chicken and pork and those kind of things. So it's doing well. So what I've got going on so far, there are more tomatoes. So I've got 6 different tomato plants back there. Let's bring you up so you can see a little bit over there. So I'm really pleased with what I've got going on here. So I'll put you right there so you can kind of see everything. So right here, I've got some cilantro, and I like cilantro rice, and you know, you use cilantro when you're making Mexican dishes and stuff like that. So got the cilantro there. This is lavender, and I'm really looking forward to them growing out and be able to smell them. Over here, I've got some more Greek oregano. I've got one right here and one right here, and they're growing beautifully. And these are some green onions that I planted from the little bulbs. Let me bring this over so you can see. So look here. I just cut off the base of those green onions and I planted them right in there. You kind of see right there how they're coming up out of there. But they're doing nicely. And then I've got some other things in this pot here that still need to get planted. They're just sitting in here. Here's some more rosemary, more basil, and more celery, more sage. I just set them down in this pot because we had gotten some wind and rain and I didn't want them to get blown around. So I just set them down in here to protect them from the wind. So let me just get a little bit of height here and I'll sit and talk to you for a second. So my garden is doing nicely, and the Dollar Tree products that I've used are working out beautifully. I was a little skeptical at first when I saw those Dollar Tree tripods, but then after I watched a couple videos, I thought, this is worth a try. And as you know, today pots are pretty expensive, so this has worked out beautifully. So far, so good. And one of the things I've been encouraging my homemakers to do is, if nothing else, plant an herb garden and plant a few pots of tomatoes and peppers. And you can see I've got my herbs growing in a little metal basin that you typically see people putting ice in at like tailgate parties. It's coming up nicely. I've used it before and it worked out fine. And then I've got those other pots that I'm using for things that, like I said, the lavender, the tomatoes, and the peppers. So let me encourage you to plant some things too. Now let me bring you a little closer so I can see what people are saying to me. Let's see. So Tudu says, hi everyone. Judy, hey Judy, good to have you here. Plain and simple, hello to you too. Tudu says, beautiful morning. It's also gorgeous in Atlanta. You know what? This is a beautiful spring day in Indiana. It's nice and cool. Perfect Indiana spring. And my things are doing well. T. Robert says, do herbs like sun or shade? And that, love me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mostly herbs like sun. There may be some that like shade, but you know what? If you've got a sunny spot on your patio, on your porch, or on your stoop, just a little corner that you can put a pot of herbs in, you should be good to go. And then Hazel, hey Hazel, good to have you here. Oh, she's on the West Coast. And Hazel says she's in her garden today too. Yeah, I got out here early first thing so that I could get them watered first thing in the morning. That gives time for the sun to dry the water off of any of the leaves so they don't have any problems associated with that. And then Tudo's responding to T. Roberts saying that most herbs need sun, but she has trouble in Atlanta with Northern European herbs like dill. Dill doesn't grow in her yard. You know what? I don't know if I've tried to plant dill. I don't use it a lot. I tend to only plant the things that I use quite a bit. Now, Tudo, I found a YouTube creator, and I can't remember her name. No, what? It wasn't a YouTube creator. It was on a channel on the Magnolia Network, and it was a young black woman that has some kind of a gardening business, and she goes around the Atlanta area helping people make over their gardens and things like that. And I was really impressed with the work that she does. So you might need to figure out what to do with that dill. But yeah, so, oh, and one of my tomato plants that I've got in the back, and I don't know if I showed you guys that, but it's already got a few flowers on it. So I know there's going to be some tomatoes coming up from that. I don't think I showed those to you guys. Let me move you guys over and I'll let you see those. They're right here. They're right here. So this one's been in the pot for about a week. This one's been in the pot for about 2 weeks. These three, they've been in the pot for about 3 weeks. So they're doing well. So I'm gonna have lots of tomatoes. And considering that you can do water bath canning with tomatoes, I'll be making salsa, marinara sauce, pasta sauce, and all kinds of things. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to those coming up. So if you've not planted anything, we're past the first frost now in our area, so we should be pretty safe. Even though they said there can be a frost until the end of May, for the most part, we're past the first frost area. If you're in the Atlanta area or other places, you may already be well past your first frost date, so you can get some things started. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I just wanted to give you a quick update and let you see how things are going. I did collect video when I planted those little tripods, and I'll try to pull it out and edit it and get it up for you. But I thought, since I did have a couple of questions as to how things were doing, I thought I'd bring you up and let you see that. So I'll give you one last look and then I'll say goodbye. So let me turn you guys around so you can get one last look at what's going on. Planted yesterday. Planted 2 weeks ago. You can see the tomatoes in the back and everything else that's coming along. So, and I dry my herbs and preserve them so that I have herbs all year long. So thank you guys for joining me. You guys have a great day. Bye.